Well, let me just, for those of you who might not know, my name is Rick Blangiardi. I currently have the privilege of serving you as the mayor in the city of Kāne, Honolulu. I want to thank you for this tremendous turnout tonight. This is really exceptional. This is our 7th town hall. Every one of them has been different than the other. Every one of them, we like to think, has been a worthwhile experience for those in attendance. But this is your meeting tonight. And if it's going to be worthwhile, it's really up to you. In a few moments, I'm going to introduce our team. But I have to tell you, this is also the most amount of lays I've been given since we began this. So I thank you for your incredible, gracious hospitality. But before you meet our team, and I'll talk about some of the ground rules as our people come in, I want to acknowledge 2 people really quick. And that's, first of all, the principal here at the school. Where's Cindy Raymond? Cindy, she should be in here. I just did a walkthrough. There's Cindy Raymond. Thank you. And thank you for your hospitality. And the Assistant Superintendent, Edward No, right? I got that right? No? Is it no? Oh, it's no. No, I got it right. Okay. Edward, thank you. Thanks for hospitality. I didn't realize that this school was once upon a time a high school. You probably all know that being here, because all I've ever heard, it seems forever, was Castle, but this is a pretty interesting place to walk around. I'm sorry the weather's been what it's been. So as we do these meetings each and every time, we'd like to start off with a pule. And we've asked Kahu, Wendell Davis. I got it right. I knew it was Wendell. I wasn't sure. Would I like you to start it off, sir?
Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, thank you.
Aloha mai kākou, everybody. Aloha. Aloha. Kahu Wendell Davis, Senior Pastor of Kaneohe Congregational Church, right down the road. And next year, we'll be celebrating our 190th church anniversary. You're all invited to come to the party. And so in 1834, it was the first mission station in the entire Windward side, and this school bears the name of Reverend Benjamin Parker. We also have adopted this school in an Adopt a School initiative as a church, and for years, the past 8 years, we've helped with Cindy and the principal and also the administration of this school for many years in helping our children in any way we can. We believe as a church, we have to make a big impact upon the community. You can't just be sitting back there in the corner. You've got to get out and help as much as possible with the homeless, with also the children. We can go on and on with that. It's important that churches step up to the plate too as well. For me, this meeting is also important because you're here. Town hall meetings are really important. And I'm glad that I'm a part of that district. Even though I'm the pastor of Kaneohe Congregational Church, I actually live in Waimānalo. And so being here on the Windward side is so important for all of us and for all of you too as well. So let me just offer a blessing for tonight. Because someone said, wow, that's a lot of rain. That means you're not from here. You say, but when you're from here, you expect rain. And as you know, even in Scripture, but also as we know in our kupuna, say when it rains, especially when ua, heavy rain, kilihuni, light rain, when the rain comes down, that rain means there's blessings coming down to you. So my word to you is tonight, whatever we discuss, whatever we do, whatever concern we may have, or maybe whatever thought we have that can move our community forward through the mayor's help, that may your voice, may your participation, may your ano, your character be blessed as we bless one another as one together to aloha kekahi kekahi, to love one another, to move forward, and also to look for the best for the future generations, but also what we can do now to make a difference in our community. I bless you now. In a wonderful halavai, this meeting, I pray. Amen. Thank you, everybody. Mahalo. Mahalo. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Bless you. Thank you. All right. So tonight I am here as mayor, but I'm also here as the moderator. And one of the first things we want to do, well, first of all, I want to remind you, we started right at 6:30, and we're going to end right at 8:30, 2 hours. And I'll talk a little bit about the ground rules. But we stay around afterwards, and you'll see. And so, but I want to keep this to 2 hours, and just so you know. And then I'll talk a little bit about the Q&A part. But one of the things that's been really very powerful for me is that in each and every one of these town hall meetings, our cabinet has come. And the reason why we come is to not only show respect, but for us, this is a journey of learning. And so even though there may be people up here behind me tonight whom you're going to meet in a moment, you may not ask a question of, it's important for me and for us as a team that we understand each and every community across the board, even if people don't get asked a question tonight. The only thing I would say before I hand out the microphone is that incredibly this week we had a number of our cabinet members, directors, come down with some sick. We had about 6 people out sick, which doesn't usually happen. But to the best of our ability, this is our cabinet. I'm going to hand it off first to start off with Denise Matsubara. They'll introduce themselves. And
aloha and good evening. My name is Denise Iseri Matsubara. I am the Office of Housing Director. This is my first month joining the mayor and his team, and it's such a pleasure for me to be able to join his team. Thank you all for coming tonight.
Aloha, good evening. I'm Kalani Hau, Fire Chief of the Honolulu Fire Department and a Kailua resident. Happy to be here tonight.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Erwin Kawata. I'm the Deputy Manager at the Board of Water Supply.
Aloha and good evening. My name is Edward Los Baños. I'm the Deputy Director, Department of Community Services. We do the human services and community services and solutions for the city.
Aloha, good evening. I'm Nicola Hedge. I'm the Deputy Director with the Office of Climate Change, Sustainability, and Resiliency. We're one of the newest kids on the city block and excited for tonight. Thank you.
Aloha, my name is Jerry Papillo, Director of Enterprise Services. We handle the Blaisdell 6 municipal golf courses, including the Great Poly Golf Course, the Honolulu Zoo, Waikiki Shell, and a handful of other items. So grateful to be here. Actually, 37 years ago when I first came to Hawaii, I was here in Kaneohe for my first 5 years of being on the island, and obviously it sold me, and great home, great place. Thank you.
Aloha, everyone. My name is Jiro Sumada. I'm the Deputy Director for the Department of Planning and Permitting.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Kat Tashner. I am the Acting Director for the Department of Land Management. We protect, develop, and manage the city's real property interests. Thank you for coming tonight.
Aloha mai kākou, John Nouchi, Deputy Director of the Department of Transportation Services, here to answer any questions about anything that rolls or anything that helps you get about the town and country. From Ko'olaupoko, really happy to feel this rain again.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Mike Formby, and I'm the Managing Director. And I am very fortunate to get to work with all the men and women up here, along with the mayor. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. Krishna Jaram. I'm the Deputy Managing Director. Thank you all for being here, and thank you for having us.
Hello, everyone. Sam Moku, born, raised, and live in Kaneohe. Glad to be here.
Good evening and welcome, everybody. My name is Roger Babcock. I'm the Director of the Department of Environmental Services. We take care of wastewater and refuse. Thanks.
Hi, everyone. I'm Kim Hashiro. I'm the Director for the Department of Customer Services. We provide services at the DMV satellite city halls, and we have a public communications division also.
Aloha, everybody. I'm Donna Puna, Department of Planning and Permitting, or DPP. Thank you for having us.
Aloha, my name is Amy Asselby, and I'm the Director of the Office of Economic Revitalization. Thank you for welcoming us here.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. I'm Bugs Baguio. I'm Assistant Director of Human Resources. If you guys have any inclination of wanting to work with the city, please see me or my man Andrew in the back there. He's a gentleman who's not wearing black, but come talk to us. Thank you.
Aloha, Keith Orikawa, Deputy Chief HPD. Honored to serve our community.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Major Bert Soria. I'm the major here in District 4, and we have one of the largest districts on the island. And I'm in charge of 3 stations, the Haʻikū Station, the Kāne Station, and the Kailua Station. I look forward to meeting with you and working with you guys. Thank you.
Aloha, good evening. My name is Warren Mamizuka. I am the acting director for the Department of Facility Maintenance. Nice to be here.
Thank you, Warren.
Good evening, Lori Kahikina, CEO and Executive Director of Honolulu Authority Rapid Transit, HART, the rail. I'm also a Kaneohe resident. Thank you for having us here.
Good evening. My name is Brian Gallagher. I'm the Deputy Director of the city's Department of Design and Construction. We work with DFM and all of the other various departments in the city to repave roads, repair sidewalks, drainage structures, renovate city facilities, fire, police, anything that the city needs. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Aloha, good evening. My name is Nate Sirota. I'm with the Honolulu Department of Parks and Recreation. It's self-explanatory, everything green on the island. My director and deputy director are out sick, so they send their regards. But any questions, I'll do my best to convey them and to answer them as best I can. Thank you, folks.
Good evening. Jim Ireland. I'm the director of the Honolulu Emergency Services Department. We have EMS, the ambulances, ocean safety, lifeguard and rescue services, as well as the new CORE program, which is crisis outreach for our homeless. And I came prepared tonight as a Windward resident for anything that comes down.
Good evening. Lloyd Yonanaka. I am the Executive Secretary for the Neighborhood Boards. Do we have any neighborhood board people here? All right, all right. How many from Kailua? Bill, all right. I am from Ka'ava, and as you know, this is not rain. This is not rain. However, my claim to fame is that I am friends with Sam Moku.
Our communications team is also here. We've got 4 people. Scott Humber, our communications director, right there. Ian Shuring, deputy communications director. Molly Pierce, who's on our comms team, and Brandy Higa. And so, just so you know, Brandy's running the camera there tonight. We're not doing live television. We've been asked to do live television. We opted not to do that because we wanted to keep the intimacy of the moment here tonight in this room and keep everybody really comfortable. That said, I do think we'll be streaming afterwards on oneoahu.org after tonight. We also record this because we want to make sure that we get back to each and every one of you. If we don't handle the question right tonight, you know, and as I said, there'll be people afterwards for you to meet directly, but we want to be sure that we cover all the bases and do the best job we can for you, and that's part of the reason why we're recording it. Now, before we get going, there's one other introduction. Well, Councilmember Matt Wyer's in the room. I see him. Matt, I just saw you. Yes. Okay. I don't think I saw any other council members here. If I did, I know Esther Key, I know, wanted to be here tonight, but when we planned this itinerary, it just conflicted with her schedule. I believe she's somewhere in the mainland or somewhere in Asia. She's somewhere, but she's not here tonight. But somebody is here representing her. Who's? They're here representing Esther. Okay. Thanks, Ian. One of the things that we did, and we were determined to do when we first came in, was to set up a youth commission. We had talked about it during the campaign. It was something we felt that we would like to see or have the opportunity to work with. And so we were fortunate. We had a really incredible group of young men and women stepped forward, and it was really, quite honestly, it was difficult to decide who would be on that youth commission. They were so talented. Bronson Azama is here. I'm going to give him a couple of minutes, okay? Because we're here tonight really to try to answer as many questions as possible. Bronson was recently the chair in the first year, right? Now you've stepped down, somebody else is the chair, but you're here tonight. We're really proud of these young men and women, and I think in just 2 minutes you'll understand why. Bronson.
Aloha mai kākou. Mahalo anui, mahalo anui, mahalo anui. Super grateful for the opportunity as the mayor has granted us, as well as the members of the city council, but more importantly, all the voters, right, who've allowed our commission to be formed in the first place. We really look at it as Kahua alluded earlier, to the point of it's very important that whenever we're moving forward in anything, we take an intergenerational approach. And, you know, I'm more proud to be a lifelong kama'aina of this ahupu'a of He'e'ia as well as Kāne Ohe. So mahalo anui to the kupuna. I think I seen Auntie Mahealani walk into the room, one of my really profound mentors, who also inspired us to have a resolution that led to the actions that Councilwoman Kia'aina took to form the Honolulu Historic Preservation Commission along with the mayor as well. So it's those types of intergenerational things of protecting our wahi, protecting our places, but more importantly, the questions that our kupuna give that I think serve all of us in this room. And three questions that I received from kupuna were, are the children fed? Do the women feel safe? And are the elderly comfortable? If we can't answer any of those questions, then clearly there's something wrong in our communities. So I really implore those types of questions for our commissioners to think about, as well as the members here. And more importantly, as we hear all of the things that, all of the blessings that you have to share along with this rain, really to remind everybody too that sometimes, you know, we assume that people make bad decisions because they're bad people, but there's a tendency often that I find that they're simply misinformed, and it's that humility that Auntie Mahealani also taught me. So taking that forward, I'll hand it over to the mayor, and mahalo to all of you, and looking forward to what you all have to share. Yeah, mahalo.
Thank you, Bronson. And I know why I said 2 minutes, because he could do that for an hour. They're really very, very impressive. Lots of really great futures in front of them. So as I said a few moments ago, this being our 7th town hall, each and every one has been different. And I can promise you, we haven't compared one to the other. I can promise you, but I have to say this, in watching the show of hands on the neighborhood board, and I think it's reflective of what we anticipated tonight here in Kaneohe. And that is that you have more representatives from neighborhood boards than we've had in any of the other places we've been, which tells me, which we already know, there's a deep passion, a deep caring and concern for this community. So that's a good segue to how we want to handle the questions. We've done our homework, if you will, and we've reviewed the minutes, if you will, from a number of neighborhood board meetings. We have some sensitive topics, but I don't want to necessarily presuppose that we know what's on your mind tonight. But what we don't want to do is have a single topic become the dominant theme. So if we get, after we've covered something, let's say, let me just pick one out that's probably going to come up, Haʻikū Stairs. Okay? Once we've done that, you know, I think that we can, you know, if it's a pro and con, which is what we anticipate, we're going to just ask the people who are on one side or the other to just sort of kind of show a sign of force. We'll try to answer that as best as possible. It doesn't mean we can't revisit, but I swear to you, it's our intention tonight to try to answer as many questions as we possibly can to make this as worthwhile as the 2 hours you're willing to give us on this rainy night. So the other thing I would ask, and this is a tough one now, so I'm going to really ask for your help. There's no need to form a long line behind the microphone. We will, as I said, I'm moderating it, we will get to you. We like one person to come up at a time, you know, you don't have to, we'll get to you. I mean, we're getting through the introductions in 15 minutes. We've got an hour and 45 minutes. I promise you, but I think it's only fair, especially since we have such a strong turnout, that we don't have people in the back who can't see through the line. You come up, our cabinet folks will answer from this one. This microphone works. I'm going to keep a handheld. I promise you I will be polite. However, this is not the Jerry Springer show, okay? You know, we're not going to have people come up here and make long-winded speeches. You can give a little bit of context to your question, But really what we want is the question, okay? So it's not a place to filibuster. I promise you I'll be polite, but I reserve the right to say, what's the question, if you look like you've wandered off the ranch a little too far, okay? Fair enough with everybody? All right, good, 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 good. So with that said, who wants to go first here? All right, well, you can just, we won't call hands. You can just come up after the person's finished. How's that? So we'll start off with Don Sakamoto. Hello, Don.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, all of the cabinets. My name is Donald Sakamoto, a longtime Kaneohe resident, born and raised. I'm on the Kaneohe Neighborhood Board here in Kaneohe, but I just want to raise just a few questions. I deal with handy van and bus with Department of Transportation Services for over 13 years now. And my concern is about the handy van. There's a large amount of vans that are breaking down. They're hard to get parts, and it's very frustrating when I get calls and people tell me that they have the operator and there's no van available in the afternoon to pick them up. And sometimes they get picked up about an hour later than the half an hour allowed pickup time. I hope that we can get more vans and fix this problem. But in the other issue is, in the Sunday's paper, Star Advertiser, there was an article about the water supply being contaminated. We'd like to know what the water supply is going to be doing to rectify that problem. Okay. And then our complete streets, I think.
All right, Don, you're running down the road here. You got 3 questions. 1 question each time.
Yeah.
And I want to be respectful of you, sir. We know each other, okay?
Sure.
So we'll answer the first question. And we'll ask Erwin to talk about the water supply. I want John Nouchi, he's up here from Transportation.
Thank you.
Aloha, Donald, and everyone. I also share and echo your concern about us having a well-maintained and an available and adequately an adequate number of vehicles in our handy van system. But I do want to reassure you that we have crested 2 hills recently in which we expect to get a large number of new handy vans, the ones that our riders are very well accustomed to. Later on this year, they will be going online shortly for construction. And additionally, we're about to execute a procurement of different types of handy vans. So what we're looking at doing is, rather than getting your larger standard type handy vans, you know, the gray and blue ones that everyone sees around, we're looking at getting smaller ones, smaller van-sized handy vans that actually would be very well suited to these kinds of operations here in places like Kaneohe, where we have some older streets, like right here on Waikalua Road or over by Lilipuna Road. And we want to make sure that we're diversifying our fleet. Also, we know that people's sensibilities are different with COVID, and maybe we don't want to have a whole bunch of people in a larger handy van. So we're looking at having more vehicles by having a larger number of small vehicles.
Thank you, John. Now, because I forgot to say 1 question per person, and because it's you, Don Sakamoto, we're going to let Erwin Starr answer your second question, and then we're going to go to the next person. Fair enough?
Fair.
So if you would be kind enough on the Board of Water Supply to repeat what you said, I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you for the question.
No, Don, what was the, do you know the question, Erwin?
Yes, sir. Yes,
okay,
sir.
Good, all right, good.
Thank you for the question. We recently issued a public notice of finding something called PFAS or PFAS. It's a forever chemical. It's a chemical that has been used since the 1940s to manufacture a number of different kinds of products that are either water resistant, stain resistant, and heat resistant. So we've been doing this kind of testing annually since 2020. It is a chemical that has been gaining national attention, and so we've actually started doing our own in 2020 and monitoring all of our wells island-wide. And we're finding a few of our wells to have these very, very small levels of this PFAS. So we're going to continue to monitor them and track any kind of changes, and if so, we're going to take the appropriate kind of action. Thank you.
Thank you, Erwin. Chamara Silva, are you in the room? 1 second, sir. Where's Chamara? Okay, Chamara's right back here, and if it comes to, we don't answer your question as well as you would like. Chamara's going to take down personal contact information so we can follow up if you want to give it, if we're not satisfied in what we're doing, to be sure we can handle it. And then the other thing is, per chance, if an hour and a half plus from now, we haven't answered all your questions, we're going to have a place for you to write your questions, and we will definitely get back to you very quickly with those answers. So really don't want anybody going home tonight feeling like they didn't have the chance to do it. And the other thing I should say, the good-looking guy in the middle, Mike Formby, says managing director. All these people report to Michael. They don't report to me. He's the boss guy. I like to call him our Tom Brady. So we have any really hard questions you ask Michael tonight, that'll be a good thing. All right, so let's go. Who's up next? I will go. No, you can, anybody, sir. You could just walk up. After the person finishes, one person, once somebody takes the position, you wait. How's that? That work?
Yeah.
Great.
Aloha. Thank you for coming out, and thank you for spending the time with us. My name's Andrew Robinson. I'm a Kaneohe resident, and I have the fortunate position to represent a ton of pickleball players that pay up at Kaneohe District Park.
Did you say pickleball?
We said pickleball.
Oh,
right?
wow.
And I think we have a group here today. So we were
America's new national sport. Go ahead. Yeah.
We were really excited to learn that Parks and Recreation was going to put new pickleball courts in on the island, and I think you've approved 67 new courts on the island. However, we were really disappointed to discover that Kaneohe got nothing. We only have 2 existing courts up at the Kaneohe District Park, and we have well over 100 players playing on a regular basis, 7 days a week, ranging from ages of 8 all the way up to 84. So my question,
yes,
why were we overlooked, and is there a plan to actually fix the situation?
That's a good question. Laura Thielen, who's a director, and her deputy, Kei Haupu'u, neither one of them is here tonight, but Nate Sirota's here. He's going to come up and answer that for you. But I will say this, as we were driving over today, I was on the phone with Governor Green. He said, we don't govern in 15 minutes, Things sometimes take a time. I think our initial effort on pickleball courts was to be as responsive as we could with some existing courts that were no longer being used. We met with the USTA tennis people to try to get that going. But we're not done with pickleball courts. But I'll let Nate, come on up here, Nate, and answer that for you. So I don't want you to feel you were overlooked. We're trying to get a lot done, and there's a lot to do. Sir, okay?
So I wanted that handheld mic because this is a passionate topic. So, really, we began trying to accommodate pickleball years ago with lining the courts at certain parks when we were doing the renovations back in maybe like 2017. And what we found was that kind of created a bit of conflict, right? When you create a court that's a multi-use facility, you have pickleball players and basketball players wanting to use the same court. So the announcement that you're referring to was to try and get those dedicated facilities. What we looked at for converting to those dedicated facilities was underutilized courts. So what we found at Kaneohe District Park, those courts are really heavily used. We had our staff take a look at the permits that are issued over there. You have the Ko'olau Baptist Church that uses it, PAL that uses those courts, USTA on a frequent basis. So that was probably why we didn't look preliminarily at Kaneohe District Park, because those are already very highly utilized. That being said, as Mayor said, this is just the beginning. We are certainly looking to expand. We want to have accommodate as many people in our parks and our recreational facilities as possible. So certainly we can have that discussion, but one thing that we make sure we don't want to do is take away a highly utilized facility from one user group to accommodate another. Granted, pickleball is very much the fastest growing sport in the country. It's been that way for probably, the past 10 years or so. So we recognize that. And so, we definitely want to try and get you guys some facilities. And to that regard, what we've been doing, because we don't have as many outdoor courts available that we would like to convert, is making our gymnasiums more available. So each one of I think we have 25 gymnasiums, is starting to offer classes and programs, free play, inside those gymnasiums on a more frequent basis. So at Kaneohe District Park, I know the gymnasium, it's Monday nights and I believe Friday afternoons when they offer that. And another kind of good bit of exciting news is we're actually going to start posting those gymnasium and pool hours online. Because it used to be you just had to go to the facility to see when those courts were available, but now you can be able to check it from your computer. So we're trying to kind of utilize our existing facilities as much as possible, but again, not take over things that are more highly utilized. But certainly, you know, we're open to discussion with you folks. You know, it's we definitely don't want to discount you know, 100 pickleball players and have you guys, you know, have any conflict with any other user groups.
So Nate, excuse me. So I understand in a lot of these courts, though, we don't have the lines. They've got to come out with chalk and put their own lines in. Do you know anything about that?
Yeah, so that was, again, what I mentioned before, where we, you know, when we first started trying to accommodate pickleball, we were doing what we call shadow lines. So we were putting lines on existing courts, but it made a multi-use court, so it kind of created some conflicts with those other user groups. But, you know, we're trying to get away from that, and that's why we, you know, took the approach of doing the dedicated courts, because also you guys would have to bring your own nets, right? And we really shouldn't have to do that for such a popular sport. So these dedicated courts that are coming online will have their own nets. But certainly, you know, those 67 courts that we announced, first of all, that was the low ball. We did, that's like the minimum amount of courts, so hopefully it'll be more than that. Second, you know, that's, again, just the beginning. So if we want to try and accommodate more user groups, we certainly can.
Good.
I've got a follow-up question. I'm going to let somebody else ask it.
Yeah, if you want to come on up.
So is one of the solutions there's 6 tennis courts up at the district park.
Mm-hmm.
And we were asking in an email that was sent to Ned Unimori
Yeah.
about why couldn't we convert 2 of the 6 tennis courts to pickleball courts. To me, it's underutilized, and when the group wants to use it, it's during night where everybody works.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the gymnasium's a great solution for people that can go to the gym at 12 to 3 o'clock. But most of our group works during the day. So
I think that's reasonable. We could take a look at that.
Absolutely.
I mean, I'm not just saying that. That's reasonable. That's what I said a few minutes ago. This is a journey of learning for us, and we want to come and hear that. I promise you, I don't have Laura here right now, but we'll see if we can't do that. Look, one of the things that we've really gotten in touch with, and I expect it's going to ring true tonight, and you need to know where we're coming from as well. A lot of the questions at the various communities have involved recreational activities. And so we've had a lot of discussions about racetracks and pickleball courts, swimming pools, gymnasiums, mountain bike trails, all kinds of things like that. And I would tell you, for me personally as mayor, and I speak for our team, we have a great interest in that, in making things available for people to play, because we all know there's a lot of sacrifice and hard work to live here, and why not try to improve the play conditions as much as possible? Okay, thank you. Just a show of hands. How many people here really care about pickleball? I'm just curious.
Awesome.
Okay, ask about tennis.
Okay, I will ask about that too, okay?
I'd like to speak to that, please.
Well, you'll have a chance to do that, but you don't have to kneel on the floor. You don't have to do that, but that's okay. All right,
Mayor,
okay.
if I could, one more point to the gentleman. Yeah, our Ned Unimori is the head of our recreational support services. We'll definitely get back to you folks. Well, the other thing we're trying to do is we're modifying our rules to try and accommodate more user groups as well too. So we're trying to kind of make it more publicly available. That's what he's busy on right now. So he's not ignoring you folks. He's just very busy trying to get those court rules going.
Okay, great. Okay. I feel badly. I don't want you to kneel on your knees there.
Well, okay, because it's a passionate subject, pickleball tennis.
Yes,
okay?
we know.
I've been playing tennis in Kaneohe for 40 years.
I know what you want to talk about. So before we let's just give her the courtesy, because I feel nobody should be on their knees here, okay?
I didn't expect to speak today at all, so I'm not
That's
prepared.
a passionate sport.
But I'm a big tennis player. I play up there 4 times a week, and I also play at other courts. And we're slowly watching, because pickleball is a great sport. I play it sometimes, and I have a lot of friends who play pickleball. But it's not fair to take away our tennis courts for that sport. You have to find another solution than using our tennis courts. We only have 6, and 3 of them are almost unplayable because the surface is so bad. You play at Ala Moana, there's big fissure cracks in the tennis courts. So that's what you have to look at. You have to start resurfacing our tennis courts and stop taking away, like Diamond Head now has 2. You have to stop taking away our courts.
How about if we had 6 tennis courts, we refurbished those 3 surfaces, and we dedicated 2 to pickleball and 4 to tennis?
No.
You're still ahead of the game by 1.
No.
Yeah, you are.
No, you can build 2 pickleball courts.
We could build 2 pickleball.
You have a big field.
Easier said than done.
Well, I'm telling you, the solution is not to reduce tennis courts.
Well, we haven't been doing that, other than the ones that weren't being used at all in some of the places. I went to the groundbreaking.
Okay.
Nobody played there.
You go to play Diamond Head on Saturday morning or all day Saturday, there's no parking because all the pickleballers come in massive groups. Like, that's another problem.
Okay.
So what I'm trying to
All right.
say is don't take away tennis courts.
All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Point duly noted, I promise you. Okay. So even though I said don't form a line, you're going to form a line. That's okay. Let's go. It's your meeting. It's your meeting. I'm trying to make it as comfortable as possible for you. All right. Go ahead. Thank you.
Aloha mai kako o wau o Lilino Young, o wau ki kai kanaka hana ia o ma Kāne o he mai ko uvali ili'i. I live at the foot of Stairway to Heaven. And so my topic is, I want to thank the fire department. Friday night, 9:30 until the wee hours, they were doing a rescue. Today, 11:30 till 3 p.m., they're conducting another rescue, which is quite frequent when they're not doing suicides. I want to thank the police department. My stack of police reports here every time I have someone trespassing in my yard. I've been assaulted twice. I had to go to court. They've always had my back, so mahalo to the police department for all they do. For the times that people are in my yard and caught, they get a 1-year trespassing certificate that they can't come trespass through my yard for 1 more year, but I got pictures of all the people.
So what is the question?
Whereas you stated that you were going to remove the stairs due to trespassing, personal injuries, invasive species, overall safety of the public, because I do not feel safe. They come at all hours. What is the status of the removal of Haʻikū Stairs? Because I know John Morgan did offer to buy it and put it in an area that is a tourist designated land in Kualoa, whereas my neighborhood doesn't hold the facilities, as you stated, for parking and all the buses.
We got it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Brian Gallagher, Department of Design and Construction, Deputy Director.
So we are setting up bids next to, or go out to bid next week for construction for the removal of the Haʻikū Stairs. So just to let you know, if all bids are successful, we get through the construction process. It could be sometime by the end of the year where we will start construction, and the plan is to remove as much of the stairs as possible, but we are trying to remove the entire set of stairs. So all the bolts, everything will be cut down, flush, everything will be removed, and that will be it. Thank you.
All right, next question, sir.
Thank you, Mr.
Brian.
Mayor, and your departments for their accessibility. It's been amazing. I have had a solar application into departments of permits and planning for over a year.
Right.
And I don't know if there is a log jam there or if...
We're making a lot of progress. I want to let Don, if your question is, how are we doing with solar permits, or your particular one? Because the solar industry, just so you know, we had 20...
I don't know if my contractor's slow rolling me or if there's a log jam at DPP.
Well, there has been, but we're unlogging it, unjamming it. I'm going to let Don speak to that. Last year, we got about 17,000 permits, 17,400 requests. We processed over 14,000 of those, so we had about 3,700 we missed. 60% of the 17,000 permit applications were for solar. And we understand the importance of that, not only as an industry, but towards our clean energy initiatives and for homeowners and the cost savings. So Don, I'll let you speak to that, because we've made a lot of inroads.
Yeah, so as Mayor said, solar is by far the largest proportion of the types of building permits that we get. So we're trying to focus on how we can make sure those go through quickly, because it affects all the remaining permits. So we have a separate line that we concentrate on looking at those permits, and we have a lot of other efforts going on working with the solar industry to make sure that we can get those permits through. But
Don, can you embellish that? Tell them about some of the efforts that you're doing, just so they know.
So we have a solar task force where we work with a lot of the major solar, small and big solar developers, and we are working on this application called Solar App Plus, and it's actually through the federal government that they have this application process that's supposed to be a little bit simpler than what we have, and so we're working on installing that so that applications can go through smoother. Besides that, yeah, it's very important that we figure out how to make solar permit applications go through. But for your specific one, I can get your application and your contact information. I can figure out where it is.
A lot of this is wash, rinse, repeat. The Hawaii program is the only sustainable energy project that I think is viable, in so much that you have people put energy into a battery, put it back on the grid to feed back to the population. It makes a lot of sense. We should help.
A quick follow-on. So it's been actually 11 months. What's the norm? If you could speak up. Longer than 11
Could you speak into the microphone so we could hear you, please?
So we have, I think back in September, the median time was 330 days, and we've been able since that time to slim it down for all building permits across the board to, I think, 160 days, and we're going to continue to work on our processes so that it's a very, reasonable amount of time. There's a lot of factors that go into, some of it is we are backlogged. Sometimes it's stuck with your design professional. So a lot of times we tell people to check directly with us so we know exactly where your permit is. They might be addressing comments, they might be sitting on it or otherwise. So there's a lot of factors that are involved, and we're working with the solar industry so that they know exactly what to submit, give us all the specifications so that we're not going back and forth asking them for every little detail that they should know should be part of the application.
Okay, so 11 months is not absurd then?
It's a median, so you could have a lot longer or a lot shorter. It just depends.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's very helpful to know. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, but we want to cut that down dramatically. Our goal is to, what would be a realistic goal if everything works well with Solar App Plus and everything else? What do you think?
I think for residential permits that include residential PV, we'd like to get it to 1 to 2 months tops. And then commercial, which are more complicated, maybe 2 to 3 months. But that's our goal, and we're going to keep doing everything we can until we meet that goal.
Look, I'm just going to give everybody a quick education on DPP because I understand the frustration. And you should understand how important we take that. It's one of the really difficult problems that we inherited coming in. It wasn't just from the prior administration. This has been going on for decades. Okay, so I can tell you in short order, part of the reason why there's been a logjam of recent is we were in office 4 months when the feds walked in and arrested 6 people. 2 of them were already in jail. 2 of those 6 people were the permit people. And when they left, it created a big void, okay? And we've been trying to catch up on that. We've invested more in technology and more in people, if we can find the people, than it's gone on in years. We understand the problems. We're developing the solutions. It's going to take patience. But we've already, and Dawn's being very modest up here, we've cut the time down dramatically beyond more than most people thought we could. And she's only been the director for the last, since September, however many months it's been, I guess it's been 7. Ma'am, your question.
Mayor Blangiardi, I hope you're going to give me my full 2 minutes because I'm an 85-year-old woman who had to write down my notes so I wouldn't forget anything before I get to my question, but I'll try and stay within those 2 minutes.
Yes.
My 2 adult children and I were looking for a 1-story, 3-bedroom, 3-bath home, which we finally found, and moved into it about 18 months ago. It was mid-2021, in the sort of in the middle of the pandemic. So we didn't hear too much from our backdoor neighbors, which happened to be Board of Water Supply worksite and a city and county worksite. They were located about 15 feet higher than our backyard, but within about 6 months after we moved there, the noise became constant, and perhaps you didn't know, and we didn't know, but we found out that the Board of Water Supply can operate 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And they're right in the middle of this residential neighborhood and right next to an intermediate school. So I have to say on behalf of the Board of Water Supply, Mr. Ernie Lau is a terrific director. because immediately he responded to a letter I wrote to him as one lowly individual and tried to assign an associate to us to work with. And we've tried to work with that associate, but she really can't do anything. The noise factor is terrible because of this night noise that constantly goes on. At least 3 or 4 days a week at night, really loud noise. Trucks backing up, beeping, possibly metal pipes being cut over there, et cetera, et cetera. And it's caused a lot of stress and actually health issues with our family. So this is my question. Why can't the city install sound barriers behind our house and in front of their, and also in front of their city and county site and the Board of Water Supply site? They can also more proactively insist that these Kaneohe sites adhere to workable neighbor solutions and resolve to fix them. Last of all, these work sites should not be located in residential neighborhoods. When surrounded by neighbors like this and an intermediate school, all efforts should be made to relocate their work sites to one more conducive to their work.
All right, thank you. Erwin. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the question, and I'm very sorry for the inconvenience. Okay, let me, our communications director is here. We're going to get some information. I'll give you my card. Tell us where this is, and I will look into it tomorrow.
But it's not only the Board of Water Supply, because you've been the most proactive. The city and county department, I think it's the Department of Transportation, their director was very casual with us and assigned it to somebody who's employed and lives on the work site. And he can't do very much. So they make all the noise in the daytime and BWS makes it at night.
If you would be kind enough to give us your contact information. Erwin said to look at the water thing. We'll get the other thing handled for you. I don't know immediate, but we will talk with you tomorrow if you give Chamari your contact information. I promise you.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you. This is great. You know what? Some of the stuff may be easy. Some's going to be difficult. We don't mind the difficult stuff. You just need to understand if you're asking us something that's pretty difficult, it's not a quick fix. Ma'am.
Hi, my name is Audrey Dole.
Hi, Audrey.
And I'm here on behalf of our senior center. We need a full-time maintenance person, 8 hours. We get one like every day. They come for about an hour to clean up. And our center has been used by seniors for classes, and I believe that we should have one.
The name of the senior center is, there's one senior center.
Kaneohe
Kaneohe
Community Center.
Community Senior. Okay. Who's up here? Maintenance, is this Nate? Okay. The senior center, maintenance.
So I'm not too familiar. You're talking about the Kaneohe Community Senior Center, correct?
In Puahala.
Okay. You know, I'm not too familiar with the maintenance needs of that or any ongoing or future projects, but let me get your information and we'll get those concerns over there. Because I know we just had our showcase with the kupuna there a couple weeks ago. I think actually last week. So yeah, let's talk offline. Yeah.
Yeah, we can use the bathrooms for that. Okay, my name is Janice Lai. I went to Kaneohe Christmas Parade. And can we get our roads through Kaneohe fixed, especially the patch between the fire station and Keoli? I mean, we have at least 2,000 people in the parade every year. A lot of them are marchers, some of them are little kids. And the way the road is, it is dangerous.
So Warren Mamazuka, who just walked down there to handle the last question, I mean, facilities amazing. You know, if I can, I don't know what the schedule is, but I can tell you this. There's 8,000 streets on the island of Oahu. I think despite all the things we're trying to get done, if we did nothing else but just fix the roads, people would be very happy.
This has been since 2018.
Since 2018. So we'll try to find out. Let's find out what. I like the fact you used the Christmas parade. What a way to set it up. What a way to set it up. It's okay. All's fair. You can ask the question any way you want. All right, you guys want to volunteer something? Oh, they're going to talk to you. These guys are good, you know. I'm telling you, these two guys. That's what you want to talk to. I'm the last guy fixing roads, I promise you. And you wouldn't want that. Yes, ma'am.
Aloha mai kako, ohali ko'oinoa. My name is Holly Sevier. I've lived in Haʻikū for 20 years. I've been neighborhood board member for 11.
Thank you.
Working with many fellow neighborhood board members here tonight on Haʻikū Stairs to try and preserve this world-famous historic structure. We've passed 2 resolutions in support of saving it. I sat on the Ikaika Anderson task force in 2014 that recommended managed access and said it would cost $4 to $5 million to remove. Here tonight, I've been working on a permitted interaction group with the neighborhood board, talking to community members, spoken to 72 households so far. Most are in favor of managed access as a resolution to trespassing, which I agree nobody wants. I'd like you to help me get extra duty HPD to the base of the stairs. Director of DOT has agreed that can happen so that we can effectively ticket trespassers as a deterrent immediately. And then I would like you to help me work for an access route that is away from the neighborhood, which is 1/3 of a mile from the base of the stairs. Thank
Before
you.
we came here tonight, we went and took a look at the managed access route, okay? Okay? We understand. Look, we know this is we talk about tennis and pickleball is hotly contested. This is probably even on a different level. And I would tell you, I started out initially because, as you heard Brian said, we have plans now to take down the stairs. However, we have been meeting with the managed access people. And tonight, in the pouring rain, Mike and Christian and myself, which is probably the reason why I look like this, went out there to take a look at what they were proposing. I've never been against the stairs. The issue we had everything to do with the community and the people that have been having to put up with stuff that, quite honestly, from the standpoint of public safety and making people feel good about where they live and the responsible thing, has been the driver in that decision. We have promised them we'd maintain an open mind to see if there was a rabbit to be taken out of a hat. We're not quite sure there. Right now, as Brian said, we're going out for bids. We need to do more discovery. I understand the pros and cons, but the way it's happened right now, because we drove around the community as well, that's a tough call to be able to say. And I would tell you, I would tell you that, yeah.
$4 million is no action.
Okay, and I would tell you the other thing we're concerned about is, you know, it's one thing to say about HPD managing it and they're going to give citations, but as we even discovered, you know, there's a lot of ways in, and one of the dilemmas we're dealing with is if we had managed access where somebody could go on outside property and somehow be shuttled in, taken to a base, hike to in there, you know, if people would really pay for that. Because what the first thing they would probably want to do is figure a way so that they don't have to pay it, which is going to lend itself to even more activity that we don't want. And to patrol that constantly with our police department is probably not realistic under our circumstances. We're having all we can do right now to staff accordingly to deal with our trouble spots in Chinatown and Waikiki with enough police officers. So that's not an excuse. Just talking to you about the dilemma. But I looked today, even though it was rainy and cloudy, up at this, it's majestic looking up at those stairs. And while I've never climbed it, I can only imagine when you get up there, it must be incredible. We understand that.
$4 to $5 million can fix a lot of roads and mend a lot of schools. That's what I'd like to see for our community. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you. All right, so I'm just going to say, I think we've covered Haʻikū Stairs pro and con tonight, okay? All right.
Marisa Mudio, I'm representing the Kaneohe Kahalu Community Emergency Response Team, and I thank everybody for being here. I got involved with community emergency response back over a decade ago, CERT it's called, at Kahalu. Kaneohe at the same time with Bill Sager was getting involved. Kailua was getting involved because of various disasters around the world. And we approached our neighborhood boards about what kind of response did we have for the windward side, particularly our Ko'olapoko region. You getting them? Thank you. Particularly our Ko'olapoko region, and the response was really none. Ha'ula at the time was the only one that had anything going for them, and our small communities were really just beginning. And we developed really quite well. And a year or so before COVID, things really from the DEM, and I'm not going to involve HAIMA. It's
So
just
you're
the
talking
DEM.
about the resiliency hub that they want to build in Honolulu?
No.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about
what's
what, actually I was going to ask you and our DEM, what have you done or what are the proceeds that are involved to help protect our communities or respond to our communities when we have a disaster? We all should know how isolated we are and how dangerous the situation we are in with our electrical, et cetera.
Right.
And it's really, what do you guys and gals got going for us?
Okay, well,
Thank you.
unfortunately, Krishna just told me Hiro Toya, who runs our emergency management services, is one of the walking wounded. He's not here tonight. I want to take down that information. Look, I can tell you we're very sensitive to that.
I know.
Okay? We're very sensitive to the exposure. I've already been out to Honolulu a couple of times. I was on the phone just the other day with Senator Schatz. Dottie is giving us the updated information. You know, it's a tough question as to who's going to pay for that, whether it's federal or state. Certainly, we don't have the money in the county, but nobody's denying the exposure out here. And just so you know, while I've only been mayor for 27 months, I came into this job with a pretty extensive background, more than 4 decades in television. I've spent a lot of nights in newsrooms looking at potential disasters on Doppler radar screens, understanding the vulnerability to its core. So we get it. That's why we've been out there. I don't know how we can get that done, but clearly we have enough population out there that even if it hasn't been done before, it needs to get done. That's the best I can tell you. We're going to try to, I think the rabbit we pull out of a hat on the financing has got to be federal money, and that's what we're looking at. Okay?
Well,
Right?
not necessarily, because technically community response and community involvement is not going to cost you or the state or the feds really much of anything. It's our awareness, our understanding
So what are you
of how
proposing?
to respond. Oh, you don't want me to really get into that?
No,
but,
well, because
it's
I'm concerned about a facility.
Promoting community awareness and community development. And there really is...
Can I just say this? Yeah, Jim can talk to you. But let me just say this: by the virtue of, as I said tonight, an incredible turnout here, and even commented on the number of people from the neighborhood board. If there's some community, if it's about the community figuring it out, I would bet on this place. So I hear what you're saying. Okay?
Yeah, I do. I know.
Why don't you talk to Jim? Thank you, ma'am.
Mahalo.
Thank you. Hello.
Aloha, my name is Sherry, and I'm from Ahui Manu. And I first want to thank you all. It's a long day for you. Thank you all for being here. Appreciate that. I can't resist. I have to especially commend the Board of Water Supply and Irwin and everybody there. We just love you so much. You guys are our heroes. You're keeping our water safe to drink, and ole ikabai. So that's, you know, actually, and the thing that I came here tonight, I wanted to talk about, there was a segue already, it has to do with that solar app. That solar app, for those of you who don't know, it's a free program from the feds that they're offering. It's already been implemented in other jurisdictions on the continent, in California and other places, and they're taking wait times for getting solar permits approved from months to actually, in some places, hours. So they'll just say a day, you know, from months to a day. With the solar app, it's been vetted. It's with the safety community and the industry that developed it. So my ask is that putting all your energy into that, getting that solar app in place, you will be our heroes. Because as you can hear, the simple solar project taking over a year, we need to transition. The mayor is so right with the climate crisis. We need to transition to clean energy. It will save pocket books with the money from not using fossil fuels, and it'll save the climate. And I'd like to say that the kids going to this very school, they're going to grow up in a world that has got a climate that is unstable. They're going to have to deal with all the pains and the harm of the climate crisis because adults did not do what they could as fast as they could when there was time to do it. So please do that solar app. Thank you.
We appreciate it. We hear you. We understand that, and we are committed. Thank you. Sir.
Aloha, Mayor, and extended city family. Thank you for coming tonight.
Thank you.
Who
are you?
I am Bill South.
Hello,
I
Bill.
live in Hui Manu, Valley of the Temples, one of the living residents, mind you. And
that's actually
I'll start
very
with
funny.
my question, then I've got a few comments afterwards. My question is regarding the bus service, or shall we say lack of bus service in some critical hours of the days and nights on the windward side. And most notably, and this is, my question is how can we improve it? A couple of comments. My wife and I would like to occasionally go down to Waikiki in the night, but we have to take a bus by 9 o'clock from Waikiki if we want to get home the same night.
Okay.
So there's some extensions of services, not only for we that want to go in and have a fun evening in town, but for those people that might be working in the Honolulu side and they're not able to get to and from their jobs without their own automobile. So I want to know what we can do.
All right.
We can do to
turn it over to
improve.
John. John.
Mahalo.
Hello, thanks.
Thank you.
First of all, thank you for your question, and that is a question we all should be asking. How come we don't have more transit service all the time? I don't own a car. I predominantly use the bus to get around. And actually, I grew up in the Waimānalo neighborhood. So from the time I was small, I know what it's like to have the bus coming up Huiulili Street. But let me talk about this. We had back probably in maybe in about 2018, we restructured a lot of the Windward services. And where we could, we expanded the service hours along a lot of the Windward routes. Unfortunately, I don't think that service expansion necessarily touches the Ahuimanu neighborhood. What we did do was we added extra trips to the Route 60 such that we even have one of the longest routes in our system, which goes all the way from Ala Moana through Kaneohe all the way to Haleiwa, to North Shore. It basically does all of our East Shore and our North Shore. We added trips to that as late as midnight, leaving Ala Moana Center to get us to Haleiwa right about 3 a.m., a little bit shy of 3 a.m. That is about as close as we can get you at this point, and that will get you to the hygienic store. But I understand if you're missing that link that gets you into the Ahuimanu neighborhood, that it might not be as helpful as you can, but I mean, as it can be for you. But I can actually talk to you on the side if you want to talk a little bit about some service gaps, and we can see where we can work on those.
That would be great.
Yeah.
Okay.
John, thank you. You know, I mentioned, I don't want to embarrass John because his parents are here, but we're very proud of John. We're very proud of John, okay? John's the deputy. Roger Morton, who's our Director of Transportation Services, ran the bus for more than 40 years. We're blessed to have a couple of the best transportation guys we could possibly have. I mentioned earlier about the 8,000 streets. I swear to you, I could almost name a street anywhere in the island. He would tell me where it is. They're really wired into trying to provide the best service. So, Bill, thank you.
Yeah, and you're from Ahuimanu, so that's great.
There you go. Okay. Sir.
Aloha, my name is Dave Mullinex, live in Kaneohe for
Hi, Dave.
30 years, I think, now. My concern is that the U.S. military is the biggest polluter in the world. They pollute more than any other entity. Here in Hawaii, there's over 100 sites that are polluted by U.S. military. They do not clean up what they do. As Erwin can confirm, the U.S. military lies to us. They lied, they hid, they deceived, they covered up the fact that Red Hill was a big problem. They have not been honest. They have been deceptive. They have not been, they talk about national security. I'm almost there. I'm almost there. But, but we are national security, our safety. So all I'm asking you is to stand up and be our advocate, because we've had our legislature, in fact, all our elected officials knew about Red Hill and did nothing. They abdicated to the military because, the military is protecting us. But they were poisoning us, and they continue to poison us. So I'm asking you just to stand up and protect us. Be our advocate. Don't fawn with the military. Protect us. Stand up for us. That's what I'm asking
Point
you.
well taken.
Yeah.
And Erwin, look, I think the military, irrespective of what you just said, is at a place right now where they've never been before as a result of Red Hill. And Mike and I, just 2 weeks ago, were up once again with Admiral Aguilino at Indo-PACOM, full of a room full of admirals and generals, talking about what you're talking about regaining trust and the need to do so based on past practices. Nobody's going to deny what's happened in the past. The only thing we can do going forward, I spent all day Monday with General Flynn, who's the 4-star that runs Fort Shafter. All we can do right now is hold people accountable on a going forward basis and solve this as fast and as best as we can. So I hear you. I think they're well aware. I appreciate the commentary. We're taking Red Hill as serious as anybody could possibly take it.
Yeah, but we have over 100 that they're not cleaning up. And that's what I'm asking you. You have to step up and you have to be our attorney.
I'll tell you, okay,
Yeah,
I hear
you've
you.
got to be the strong guy
I'd
saying,
like to find out a little bit more about that because I would tell you that we need to get the details on that so we can
Okay.
talk to them about that.
all right,
So
we
we'll
have
get that
over
from you.
100 polluted sites.
All right, thank you.
Do you want to say
Erwin,
something?
maybe you could talk with him.
Thank you, Erwin. You're amazing.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you very much. I mean, yeah, we recognize all of the challenges. It's something that we continue to press on them, including this mayor. He is very concerned about the environment and wants to keep it clean, and so it's a team effort here that we're trying to continue to work with and, you know, communicate our concerns with the Navy.
Yeah, and I don't want to overstate anything, but I can promise you the relationship we have formed with the military is unprecedented. And it's been as candid as you would want it to be, as you think it could be. And I've been really appreciative of their response in the spirit of that candor. So nobody's ducking the tough stuff on this one.
Okay, that's good. And
Thank you,
because the
Dave.
Board of Water Supply was the only one standing up for us, the only group. And thank you so much. We would not have good water if it wasn't for them. Thank you.
You're welcome, sir. Thank you. Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Aloha, I'm Janie Lau. I've lived
Janie.
in Kaneohe for over 50 years. And this is about the stairway, but it's about one single point, and I'll take 1 minute that you have not considered.
Go ahead.
Okay, I used to climb the stairway when it was legal. I climbed it 14 times. It's awesome. When it became illegal, people started putting ropes on it. You
Right.
can take down the stairs.
We saw the ladders today. Right.
You can take down the stairway,
Right.
but you're still going to have people climbing it. I envision going across the H3 and seeing all these ropes hanging down. There's also an access from IAEA that's very, very dangerous that's still open. This is I want to take my grandchildren on this. This is an awesome stairway. And Friends of Haʻikū Stairway have a proposal in that addresses all the neighborhood issues. I would be pissed if they walked through my neighborhood to the stairway.
Yeah.
I would be, but this...
Well, they'll just walk through the neighborhood.
Yeah.
We've looked at pictures, we've read accounts, we've seen vandalism, we've seen disrespect, houses have been broken in, all the stuff that we feel really compelled to protect people from.
Yeah.
I wish it wasn't that way. I wish this was out in the middle of nowhere where you could just get to it and do what you just did. I'd like to climb the stairs, but we owe it to the people who live there. And we drove all around the neighborhood today to understand exactly that dynamic.
Yeah.
So I don't know what I can say about that. I know that there'll be people later, if we take down the stairs, who are going to want to do that. They do them all the time. There's going to be stuff, we can't prevent that, but at the same time, I'm not going to get extorted by that as a possibility. Okay? Just so you know.
All right.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. Don't get hurt. Thank you, Janie. Sir.
Hi, my name is Bob Toogood.
Hello, Bob.
Hello, and I've got a question and a statement. First of all, I would like to see everybody that would support the reopening of the stairs safely in a manner that does not bother the neighborhood down below stand up.
Yeah, you would support that. I appreciate that. We're already on Haʻikū Stairs. Bob, too good. We're done. Let me just say this to you. You can stand up and say that, but we have yet to see that plan that protects the neighborhood.
Okay.
Okay? So, we said we keep an open mind before we start taking down the stairs. We're just going to go out for bids next week. Mike and I have promised that to all the people like yourself who are interested. Bring us a plan and prove it. Fair?
Okay, fair.
Good, thank you.
That's fair.
All right, thank you. Mia, you're up. You're the first one here, 2 town halls. She was at one at Kalani High School. Go ahead.
Yes, my name is Mia Lisa Otis. I am from Waimānalo. I am speaking about Bill 19. I know you're getting a lot of input from the community and you're learning what the community wants.
Right.
And in the last council meeting on March 15th, there was 3 supporting, 6 wishing to comment, and 68 opposing, and more people will show up. And if you're getting a lot of opposition, just know that we actually support Bill 19 as a whole, but not until Bill 38 and the other bills that protect Waimānalo, Kailua, Kokololea, and North Shore are implemented.
Okay. I appreciate that. If you don't mind, Nate, since you said you want, just explain, because not everybody in the audience might know Bill 19 and Bill 38. Bill 38 is a piece of legislation I signed which stopped the commercial activity, albeit for film in the movie industry in Waimānalo. and we're very aware of the other bans. But at the same time we signed that, I said on that day, I'm signing it because I didn't like what was going on, but we're going to look for something that would be more equitable for all of our beaches that we felt we could monitor so that we wouldn't have bans, because what the bans created was everybody just going to a different place. 19 is complicated to put together, but we're not reneging on anything. We're trying to work that out, and that's where we are right now. Nate, is there anything you want to add to that?
Sure, yeah. Bill 19 basically is us trying to rein in a lot of the commercial activity that you folks are seeing, and as opposed to having kind of piecemeal bans that we've had throughout the Windward and North Shore. You know, when we introduced it, I think it caught a lot of people off guard. So what we're doing at this point is we're keeping it in the City Council Committee, the Parks and Enterprise Services Committee. There's another hearing coming up on it on next Thursday. Please, you know, we want to keep it in that committee so that it doesn't advance without us getting more input from the community. So by no means is it a done piece of legislation. We want to get more input. What we've done this past couple of weeks is crunched a bunch of the numbers to see what parks maybe, you know, we can accommodate things. So we want to get your guys' input. So by no means is Bill 19 a done deal. We definitely want to hear from you folks.
Okay, before I was interrupted, I wanted to say that since 2019, even from Bill 10, Waimānalo loudly and proudly opposed commercial activity. It's a funerary, there's iwi kapuna, it's what the community wants. You know, we can move on to more important issues like water and preservation, but I guess since you guys are cutting me off, this is an action call to all of you that we have to raise our voices and yeah, show up on March 3rd. And so since I have you up here and I know your answer, do you support considering including CD1 into Bill 19 that protects Waimānalo, Kailua, Kokololeo, and North Shore?
That's not my decision to make, unfortunately. But that's something that we need to work with the council to figure out. And that's really the toughest decision, right? And with this bill is to figure out whether we grandfather in those existing bans or not. And Kalamai, seriously, if you feel like we cut you off, we definitely do not want to cut off anyone. We want to hear your guys' input on Bill 19.
Thank you very much.
Sure.
You're welcome, Mia. Thank you. Sir.
Hi. Good evening. Tom, I live on the street, and I noticed there's no speed sign. I don't see a speed sign, and they speed from the police station to the graveyard, and they speed right back and slow down. Second is on Halemoko Street.
Yes.
You come up, there's a sign that says crosswalk, but you cannot see it. You look left, they look left, and they turn right into the crosswalk where the kids are already in there. I stand out there and help them across the street.
Right.
Third is, they started having a lot of dogs back here. We had a little group started, and then, boom, signs came up along the fence, and they locked the gate at the end, a short gate. And they kids climbing over the gate, going home and going to school, because the walk path is this narrow, the bushes is this high, and they're afraid to walk along the road. That's all.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hang on a second. Anybody want to take a shot at that? John, look, we're really sensitive. I think it was Roger Morton, one of the town hall, says we used to get requests around schools maybe for 5 or 6 speed bumps a year. We're now getting 5 or 6 a week, and I'm not saying it's not justified. And the other thing is I do a weekly radio call-in show.
I called you Wednesday.
Yeah, thank you. But many times people call in about crosswalks that used to be there that aren't there anymore. In fact, it was a big subject of conversation just yesterday.
No, it's there, but like I said, when you come up the hill, they look left, because you can't see the crosswalk on the right, and they look and they just turn.
So we should look at that. Okay, we should look at that, Bill.
And then I don't know why they locked the, kids climbing over the fence to come to school. It's embarrassing.
I mean, that doesn't sound right, John.
They said because of the homeless. But everything else is open around, through here, and then they locked the little gate and fences. They had a bunch of people playing in the field.
Is it the school that's locking the fence?
Yes, the field right here. And they got signs out saying this is not a play park. They had pot burner teams or some kind of football teams all week. Last week they get soccer, they get everything. But I guess you pay to get on aboard, but I don't know.
Okay. Well, John, you want?
Sir, yeah, we can definitely assist you with that crosswalk issue. So you said Halemoko Street, right?
Yeah, you come up.
Come up the hill towards William Henry or Waikalua.
Right, yes.
Yeah.
You cannot see it.
Okay.
But there is a sign, but when they come out, they look left and just turn, and you're in the crosswalk, and the kids are there. You know what I mean?
We'll definitely take a look at that. And you did talk about, you said people were speeding and that there's missing signs and things like
Once
that?
they pass the police, they whip them down to the graveyard with a turn, and they slow down. And when they stop that way, coming this way, they just whoop them this way, and they slow down right before the police station. And like, you know, like the kid, this is school area, you know?
Yeah. So what we can do, we'll definitely take a look at the signs that are supposed to be up there, and if there needs to be any other kind of measures that control speeding, we can do that.
They got the preschool, and everybody, parents rushing to drop the kids to go
Bill,
to work.
we got it.
Yeah.
So a little speed bump or something.
We'll follow up, sir. No, look, I appreciate your concern. I really do.
Yeah. And one thing I just want to say, Mayor, just for everybody's knowledge, you know, this is a very different time to be working in transportation, because I think when I started this job about 6 or 7 years ago, whenever we put out a speed hump or anything that slowed traffic down, everybody was like, boo, boo, I want, you know, but now we're having everybody ask for it. So to me, this is great times that people are concerned about speeding in the neighborhood, because that's how we save lives. We reduce the speeds
But you look at it,
and we save lives.
Road.
Yes.
It's a street now. This is a main drag
Right.
in and out.
But the one thing I do want to be very clear about, when we look at the road, the neighborhood is the best judge of requesting, like, hey, we got a problem with speeding here, right?
Mm-hmm.
We have a whole bunch of tools that we have in our toolkits that we can use to apply to reduce the amount of speeding in the neighborhood. And here's the thing, everybody immediately now goes to speed humps. One thing that everybody needs to know is we cannot put speed humps anywhere. There is a very certain usage of speed humps. And you know, it's funny, you talk about Halimuku Street, right? That's the place where I got my minus points on when I took my driver's test when I was 15. They made me park
I'm
on
going
the
to put
hill.
you guys on the side, okay? Because one of the things I love about John, he's a great storyteller, okay? He's a great storyteller. Go ahead, sir.
Hi, Mayor. My name is Logan Freitas. It sounds like you guys need a separate town hall for the Haʻikū Stairs, guys. But my problem is a little more personal. It affects about 300 or so of us that live right here, actually. I live right behind the school. There's a Auwai, as you know. I use quotations because everybody that I talk to on the phone with the city and the state call it an Auwai. I want to make sure that...
You talk about the stream that's out here, right?
Storm drain, Mayor.
Storm drain.
We should be calling it a storm drain because that's what it is.
Okay.
There's many city storm drains that pour into the Auwai. But unfortunately, it's just about a 1.5 foot deep dirt pit that all the dirt falls into it. So for the last month and a half or so, we actually have resident ducks that live here now. There's no drainage. Makai's that way, it don't go. We got hundreds of frogs. I wish I was exaggerating.
Yeah.
Many of us have dogs. If you don't know, if dogs bite the frogs, they die. They're poisonous. Mosquito problem. So anyway, because you said keep it short and ask questions, when can you build us one of those big cement ones like Wailele, and over here behind the police station, they got these big old cement things that actually drain everything. Right now, we have major problems with flooding. Fortunately for me, my house doesn't flood, but my yard does. But a bunch of my neighbors, their houses actually flood.
Cindy Raymond, who's right there, the principal, when I came here, even though it was pouring, walked me out there and said, you got to look at this. I then turned around and asked Warren Mamazuka, what's going on with that? So we're going to ask Warren, who's in charge of facilities and maintenance. One of the things he told me that's a challenge is that even though you're not calling it a stream, the houses back there their ownership extends into that.
Correct.
So now you have multiple ownerships, and the city itself has about 150 feet. I just learned all this tonight. I'll let Warren talk about it. He's the expert on this, but I hear what you're saying. Go ahead.
I wouldn't call myself an expert, but
You're
I
more
know a little
expert than
bit
me.
about it. So most of the Hawaii back here is actually an old irrigation ditch.
Correct.
So almost everyone's property crosses over the Hawaii, so that's in your property. So you're actually supposed to maintain your portion of the Hawaii. The city's portion is just beyond the last building here in the back where it makes that cut.
That's actually my house, so I'm happy you own it and not me.
So
Keep going.
we actually maintain that portion of the Hawaii.
Maintain is loose, not to disrespect Warren, but maintain is loose term.
I know we were out there last year.
Yep. Thank you for that, brother.
Yeah, and I can talk with our guys to go out there and do a site visit and schedule something to go back and clear that that city portion.
But I think the multiple ownership is a problem with putting in one of those cement gullies that he's talking about. I don't know.
Can I ask one more question? I actually got together with all my neighbors, so we're supposed to maybe have a meeting with Scott Matayoshi next week. They'd be willing to talk about some sort of easement or something like that, because it's while it's a problem, Mayor, and I understand the ownership, it's not fair because it's like city owns this one, we own this one, city owns this one, we own this one, all the way down.
I got it.
Can we fix it? Yeah?
Well, Brian Gallagher wants to say something from Department of Design and Construction. Scott Matayoshi plays for the other team over in the stateside.
And Esther.
Why aren't you in his office asking him?
Well, I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. Because last year, the school claimed ownership.
Oh.
And then we got this bombshell information that now it's the city's thing, so they are playing this ping pong here.
I hate that. I hate that.
Me too.
Okay.
You're telling me, man.
All right.
So yeah, that's kind of the evolution of some of our facilities over the years. What state, what city, some of it's disputed, it goes on and on. As far as some of it being private ownership and not, we can work out potentially an easement where and then we can look into, but there's a lot of factors that go into that. We got to do a whole drainage study. Where does that start? Where does it end? What do we have to get through? Because it doesn't just end at your house. It has to go all the way down to the ocean.
Understood.
Or tie into something existing. And if we tie in one more thing, then maybe all of that other infrastructure has to be upsized. So there's a whole domino effect. But you got a point, and we're not going to let it go. So
you guys want to come to the meeting next week? Esther Kiana is supposed to go as well.
I gotta go.
Okay, I'll get your information.
I gotta
It can't be
Maybe right over
Thursday.
here.
It can't be on Thursday because these guys travel with
Tuesday.
me. And we're in Wailua next Thursday night.
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
You can come too, man. Right here at my house. I'm hosting. Right now, I'm going to send an email.
Time?
We're looking at about 5 o'clock.
I might just surprise you. I have no idea what my wife
We're looking
has
at 5
planned.
o'clock on Tuesday only because 5 o'clock will be light and you guys can actually see what the hall is going to look like.
Okay. Cool. We'll get your contact information. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Great. Thank you. Sir, thank you.
Aloha, Mayor, and all you council members. Thanks for coming here tonight and listening to our questions. I'm Randy Kennedy, a 34-year resident of Hawaii and a retired conservation biologist who's done a lot of work up in that area over the years.
Thank you.
So my question is not the pros and cons, but a process question. So the state rests on both federally and protected critical habitat as well as state conservation land. Many endangered species live in close proximity to the stairs. Will you assure the city and county follow the legal required actions to protect these species? Because I've read the habitat, the species, and the environment around it.
Yeah. State, that's state though, right? So
it's state, county, and it's also federal lands there.
Who wants to take that on? Anybody? Look, I would be, I'd like a little bit more about that on what we can do, but I can just tell you that how could I ever say, no, we won't do that, you know?
Okay,
I just want to be sure it's something feasible we can say yes to.
I understand that, but I also hear that they're putting out the bid. When are you putting out the bid?
When are we putting out the bid?
I've read the EIS, and I don't think any of this stuff has been done that's required.
The EIS for what?
For the Haʻikū Stairs removal.
For Haʻikū Stairs. For you mean the removal of Haʻikū Stairs?
Yes.
Well, the invasive species that's up there, you want to talk about that?
I'm talking about compliance with federal state laws.
I think if we go forward and we take the stairs down, we'll be doing everything that's compliant.
Okay.
That much I can tell you that.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay? All right.
Thank you.
That I'll stand behind.
Okay, I'll take you at your word. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Aloha, Mayor. I work for the other side. I have to work for the state. So
I said that lovingly.
Yes.
I said that with affection. I spent my whole ride over here talking to Governor Green, so you know.
Yeah. So
all right.
I live in Kaneohe. I get some neighbors and colleagues on your cabinet, and it's great. But Bronson asked if we feel safe, if the women feel safe in the community. I live by Windward City Shopping Center, two really high-profile crimes, violent crimes that have happened. Last week, I was walking my dog. My husband is a first responder for the city. I walk my dog when he's not home, my kids are asleep in the house. I'm walking by, I see across the street this lady, no shoes, staring at somebody's driveway. She meanders down and stares at my house. In my
Okay.
driveway.
She was a homeless person?
I don't know.
You don't know. Major, do you want to talk about that?
Well, and
What's the question, though?
I walk all the time in my house around the neighborhood with my kids. I have to point out now, and it wasn't like this before. I have to point out now to my kids which people to respectfully give space to. My son said, "Oh, that guy looks normal." 5 minutes later, I found out he was naked across the other side of Windward City Shopping Center. You guys know this. And I want to know what the prosecuting attorney's office is doing to support HPD. They have come when I call.
Okay.
It takes them a little while, so thank you very much.
Well,
and I know
since
it's a big area, but I want to know what they're
We hear
doing
you.
to support it.
I'll talk about that, but
Thank you.
since we're in the Major's district, sir, you go
So
first.
I'll be very brief with that. Whenever anyone encounters that type of situation, we encourage you guys to immediately call 911 so our officers can respond and make the assessment on how to handle this individual. If we need to take this individual into protective custody, that he's in danger to himself and the public, he will. Our officers will. Our officers are dedicated, and it is our goal to create safer neighborhoods here in the District 4 area. Thank you.
Look, can I just say one thing in that regard as a broad thing, but I will also say, before I say this, that we worked really hard to create a really good working relationship between Joe Logan, Steve Arm, our prosecuting attorney, myself, and the judiciary. And I think that's really important. And so when you ask about HPD supporting the prosecuting attorney or vice versa, we've got that going on, but we do have some enforcement issues. Part of it's a manpower problem. But the one thing I did want to say to all of you, I said earlier tonight about people playing and we're sensitive. We have a lot of priorities of things we're working on, but if there's anything that I consider to be more equal than those other priorities on an ongoing basis, it's public safety. It's public safety. And we pay a lot of attention to that, and we can talk about that if it comes up, but I can promise you it's big on our list. Sir, thank you for the lay, by the way.
Aloha, my name is Turama Kahunahana Maderis Jr. I am a junior at Castle High School, and I am specifically here to talk about food sovereignty in reference to the Parks and Recreation Department. I would like to know if you guys have considered at all edible landscaping for an urban adaptable system of improving Hawaii's resilience towards disaster readiness.
Nicola? You know, as I said earlier, Laura Thielen's not here in Keaupu'u, but I would tell you food sustainability is also a very important topic. I'll let Nicola talk about it, who's our Deputy Director from our Office of Climate Change, Sustainability, and Resilience. But we're trying to be on the cutting edge on that. Let's see what she says, and if there's anything left, I'll throw it in too. Go ahead.
Sure, thank you for that. Obviously, there's a lot of resonance with the community and certainly island-wide with both our vulnerability, right, that we have here in Hawaii with the amount of food that we import, and certainly resilience when we face disaster, but also just the pride that comes with our food system and the history that we have culturally here in Hawaii. Of being able to feed ourselves. So I think this is something really important. I know that our office stood up our first food security and sustainability program just in the last couple of years. I would say that working with the Office of Economic Revitalization, a lot of that work has been focused on the pandemic and a lot of food security issues that are very immediate, and also a lot of work with our agricultural community. So they've started up an agricultural grants program that I know OER could talk a lot more about, really to help support small farmers that have seen impact from the pandemic. This is certainly something we want to do a lot more. We've also helped, again, with OER and many other community partners stand up a good food purchasing program. So the city and county can work with other large institutions across the county to commit to purchasing more local food in our own institutions and continue to drive the market and support the market that way. So there's a lot of things. I'd love to talk with you further, connect you with our food security and sustainability manager, and certainly if there's particular places that you had with edible food, landscaping, and parks, maybe Nate can add something, or there's something else that we can follow up with.
And I'm going to ask you to meet with them offline, but I would just tell you, we're really big on urban farming, and Nicola just alluded to the Good Food Program. You should look that up, because in just 2 years, we have now pretty much, and this year all the hotels came in, have mandated they buy a percentage of their food, and we're working with the restaurants and elsewhere, schools, and even the city itself, locally grown. So we're really going to try to push that economy because we understand the importance of it. Thank you. Appreciate the fact you're here. Thank you.
And great to see youth voices and leadership on so many issues.
So we have about a half hour left. Remember I said if we don't get you at the end of the line, you can write a question, we'll get back to you. But let's try to get through the questions as quickly as possible. Yes, sir.
Aloha, my name is Jake La'akea Iona Ferreira. I am a senior at Castle High School, graduating this year.
Congratulations.
I've been farming kalo for 6 years now, born and raised in Kaneohe. I've lived in Kahalū my whole life. And I've experienced that in Kaneohe, we've had a rise in prices. I mean, that's on the whole island. But our countryside has been pushed away year by year, getting smaller and smaller, which is meaning our food is getting more and more expensive. Our ancestors depended on our aina to provide for the people. Why aren't we doing that today? Why are we shipping in most of our food to Hawaii when we could
I think we've already addressed that. We hear you. We understand that. We understand the vulnerability that creates, the liability. And we're doing it whatever we possibly can. It's not like we're indifferent to that.
Taking back to her, she said there was grants available during COVID.
Yes.
Me, myself, and everybody in my neighborhood, I actually told everybody about it because Dad invested into the aina.
Good for you.
None of us got that grant at all out of like the 40 of my neighbors, which was pretty surprising.
Amy, you want to you talk about the grants from, it would be OER, not from you, right?
Yeah, so any work around food and agriculture is brand new to the city. I work in the Office of Economic Revitalization, and we're getting close to 3 years in existence. And the earlier pandemic-related grants were to community-based organizations, the food bank, and 200 organizations in communities that purchased local food only with that $32 million to distribute to families that during the pandemic were food insecure. So we just got another $1 million approved, and that again will go to the food bank and community-based organizations that distribute that to our neighbors. So we're excited to get that going. Appreciative to the mayor and the city council for supporting that. And we've also been supporting local farmers to decrease the amount of food that's being imported. And that also requires all of us to eat more local food and choose local when we have the option and the ability to pay for it. So the money that the city is investing is trying to keep the cost of local food affordable to all and to enhance the production and to encourage more people to participate in sustainable farming on this island.
I have one last question. With all the land that we have available, why is it still so hard for people to be able to obtain that land, to actually farm that land?
Well, that's pretty much, I think most of state ag land, we're talking about state ag land. Does anybody else want to, I think for the most part, that's what you're talking. Look, don't give up. If I were to say something, and I mean this in a complimentary way, that's right, to a high school senior, persistence pays off, okay? Stay the course, you're on a great topic, don't give up, apply. We're trying to get as much money. Just today, Mike and I were talking about driving out here about accessing more and more federal monies so we can distribute locally. We're actually going to hire a grant person to work in Amy's office. Kat's going to say something. So we could try to access these monies so we can give it to people like yourselves. Believe me, it's one of the most gratifying things we get to do is to give out money and watch people make the magic happen.
Would that money be for to
Depends
the
on the
land
nature
itself?
of the grant. It depends on the nature of the grant, not to buy land per se, but to work the land.
Okay.
We're going to move on, but I do want
Thank
Kat
you.
to say something. Go
Hi,
ahead.
so the city actually does have a fund to purchase land for conservation purposes, and one of the conservation purposes is agriculture. Every year,
Sign
the
me
city,
up.
every year the city puts aside about $7.5 million exclusively for land purchases. We can talk offline, but it can go directly to the community. It's a long process, as some of you are experiencing, but it is available. Right now, the fund is sitting pretty flush, so a lot of opportunity there.
Do you hear that?
To you.
The fund's sitting pretty slush. Talk to Kat. Next
Thank
one
you.
up. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Lisa Uesato, and I'm from Windward Neighborhood
Thank you.
Security Watch. Oh.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Lisa Uesato. I'm from Windward Neighborhood Security Watch Coordinators Group.
Thank you for doing
And,
that.
and at our recent meeting that we had, one of the topics that was discussed was replacing faded neighborhood security watch signage. There's a lot that's all over the island, especially in our District 4.
Yep.
So,
Okay. I get it.
Yep.
It's about faded signs, right?
Yeah.
You want new signs. Warren.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, I spoke extensively with Lisa earlier, so
Yeah, thank you
she
very
has
much,
my contact
Warren.
info. You know, let's keep in touch. You know, send me those photos, the street names, you know, the area, and then, you know, we'll work on it. Yeah, we'll schedule
Yeah,
some
thank
of the
you
work.
very much, Warren.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you,
thank
Lisa.
you.
Thank you. Okay.
Hi, I'm Leela Uehara. I'm also with Windward Neighborhood Security Watch. And for the past, we together with Kāne Family Center, the Kiwanis, and HPD have been organizing these semi-annual graffiti and community cleanups for the past 12 years. And we usually meet at the Kāne District Park skate park, but for some reason this past year we haven't been able to get approval to meet there, and I'm just wondering, can we?
Who's in charge of meeting at community parks? Let's get your contact information. We'll find out about that. Really disadvantaged not having Laura here tonight.
Yeah.
We will follow up with you. Chamara, where's Chamara?
Okay.
Let's be sure. We will. We'll give you that answer.
Okay.
Okay, so the next is a group. This is a friendly group, right? It's a family and friends here. Okay, that's good. Go ahead. And the question is, Zeke, right? Zeke, what's the question?
We want bike parks that are legal
Yep.
in Waimānalo.
Yeah, bike parks, right? Yeah, you know, your mom was kind enough to show me a video of what we're talking about, and we need to look into that. It's a land situation, but I love the idea of doing that. You know, when my kids grew up, they used to take the little BMXs and run all over the place, you know, over there. But I know it's kind of fun. I've seen it. So questions asked, we'll try to do something. Mom, you want to follow up?
Yeah, I just want to say we went to Texas about 3 years ago, and they have some awesome bike parks. It's pump
Yes.
tracks made of dirt for
Yes.
bikers, not dirt
Yeah.
bikes, pedal bikes, BMX, you know,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. And just the kids blew me away with what they do with a pile of dirt.
I know.
And they made them all by hand with wheelbarrows, and I'm hoping we don't have to take that long because it took them 10 years. But
We'll see what we can
waited
do.
3 already, so. Yeah, and these guys, I'm gonna tell you, they build stuff in the community, and it's not legal, so people go and they knock it down, and they're engineers. I have it on video.
Okay.
They're just awesome.
We just got to find out where we could put that. Looks like
I have many different
Your husband told me it's
locations.
about an acre or so is what you need
Yeah.
to do that. Yeah.
Well,
we
we
gotta-
can do, yeah.
I promise you we're going to look into that.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, the more fun stuff we can get done on our
Yeah.
watch, we want to do. Okay, we understand how important
And right
it is.
now, there's a global movement for bikes in schools.
Yes.
As they know, they're in intermediate,
Yes.
elementary. When you get to intermediate, there's no playgrounds.
Look, we're-
they stand around and talk story, and they go smoke in the bathroom, and we're
Okay.
trying to watch what they're doing.
I know.
There's nothing
I
for
get
them
it.
to do.
I get it. It's good for the kids. I understand.
Oh, no,
Thank
you guys
you.
don't. Sorry.
Next question, Lee. You're not going to ask me about a racetrack tonight because we got it. We got it down on the racetrack. Hey, thank you, Lee.
I haven't talked about the
No, you haven't, but we got it. I spent more time. I spent more time lately on racetracks.
I came for them.
Okay, good. Thank you, sir.
Hello, Mayor. I'm Ben Boniaga. I'm a 45-year resident here in Kailua. I served on the neighborhood board between 1991 and 95. Before I present my solution, I'd like to add, my question rather, I'd like to end my solution.
I like the idea of a solution with a question. Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. The condition of this road here on Cam Highway is what my concern is, between the Waikalua all the way up towards Pu'inia Road, which is the next slide up. Now, I've been observing this roadway as it gets paved, and back about 15, 20 years ago, it used to last about 3 years before it started to deteriorate, and it got a lot of holes, as you can tell now. Now, what happened 15 years ago, however, is that the DOT, Department of Transportation, determined that they're going to use another type of material for the paving. And that would cost more, but they'd use less. And then what happened was that now, after they repaved the road, within less than 2 years' time, the integrity of the work start to deteriorate. And you get all these potholes and need to be filled up.
So what's the solution, sir? Because I want to get to as many people behind you as we can. Because I tell you right now, you're talking about a state situation, but go ahead.
Okay. Now, what we need actually is to be done with this roadway is what they did on Middle Street in front of the bus station. Yeah, bus depot. You need to get concrete put in because like I said, the integrity of the material, and they hardly put even 3-inch of layer of asphalt nowadays when they repave the road. So, you know, the old stuff was better than what they're using today.
I'll tell you what we can do. We'll get your contact information. One of us will call Ed Sniffen, who's the head of the Department of Transportation, and give him the facts, okay? I promise you that.
That's a major concern because it's been over 45 years.
Ben, we'll have Ed call you. We'll ask him to do that.
Appreciate that, Ben.
All right, you're welcome, sir. Okay. Next. Thank you. You can fix, yeah, there you go.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
My name is Stu Simmons, and thank you, Mayor, and thank your entire administration for having these meetings. We really appreciate
our privilege. I said, This is actually a fun thing for us. If we can get stuff done, great. The one thing I didn't say tonight, I probably should have said at the outset, we're up here to tell you the truth. You may not hear the answer you want to hear, and maybe by now, an hour and a half later, you know that. But we're going to tell you what we can do and what we can't do. We're going to be straight with you, okay?
Thank you. Thank you. One of the major issues that's impacted the Windward side, in fact, the entire island, is illegal vacation rentals.
Yep.
And these illegal businesses promote out-of-state investors to buy homes and to take housing opportunities away from local residents.
Correct.
And your administration, I would like to thank for doing the outstanding job of passing Bill 41. And I think you've done an outstanding job with enforcement. So I really appreciate that.
And we've just begun. So let me just cut to the quick on 41. We understand, just to give you a couple quick statistics, in 2019, when we had 10.5 million visitors, 3 million, this is statewide, 3 million stayed in illegal short-term vacation rentals. Very disruptive to our neighborhoods. And especially here on the Windward side and the North Shore. It's literally door to door. It's taken us a while to set it up so we could enforce 41. We had to hire a collection agency. We hired a team of inspectors. There's a lot of things you have to go through legal. We have now begun, just recently, since we signed that bill, to find, I think we said today, 600. We've sent out NOVs, notices of violations, to about 600. We're playing hardball. We hired a collection agency for the first time, a very skilled collection agency, to make sure that they follow up and do it, because it's the only way they're going to get paid. And so all I can tell you is at $10,000 a day, we're not fooling around.
No, you're
okay?
not. We appreciate that.
And we're going to drop the hammer. We're playing hardball on this one.
Yeah. So,
okay?
As you know, a group of illegal vacation rentals and unscrupulous realtors have sued the city in the federal court and are trying to carve out a loophole in the law to allow them to continue to operate vacation rental businesses 12 times a year. And what I'd like to know, if the city loses that case, Will your administration take additional steps to stop vacation rentals from infiltrating our residential zone neighborhoods? And will you appeal any decision?
Well, we're going to fight it legally. We're going to do everything we possibly can. But at the end of the day, understanding perhaps the leverage of things, we have really prepared ourselves to be able to enforce it 30 days or less, okay? Because that's what we don't want, because we know that that's the practice, right? So at the end of the day, you know, that's why we've set this up as carefully as we can to make sure. What we need, just so everybody knows, and maybe somebody, Don, you could tell me which line they can call. You can do this very confidentially, but you could let us know. If you have a complaint, give us an address so we can follow up with that. We pretty much know in the mapping software where places are, but if there's something that's really egregious and you have a problem, let us know. Promise your confidence will be kept, and we'll follow up with that. That will facilitate matters for our inspectors.
Yeah. Our biggest concern and what we see, and I see people doing this, is they make fake 30-day
We know
contracts.
that. Everybody's got a 30-day pass. We know that.
Yeah.
But if we know where it is, that's why we have inspectors on the ground. We can catch that.
Okay. Thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you very much.
Thank you, sir. All right. Hello.
I'm good. Thank you, Mayor. I had come before you through your radio program, and I really appreciate that. My name is Tanya Tom Hoon.
Hello, Tanya.
I've been a longtime resident in Kahalu. My family has been there since the 1950s, way before Kahakili was actually built. Now, at that time, my family had 6 acres. The city had made an error in downzoning our land, and I've been spending the last 40 years in trying to have the city restore our property back to its R10 designation. And roadblock after roadblock I've been encountering. I even am faced with my council representative, Kia Aina, refusing to introduce a new resolution that reflects a restoration of our property. Now, the reason why I'm here is because I can't even house my own family members. The reason why my parents bought the property was to leave a legacy to their children. I am being the youngest of 6. I only have 2 siblings left, and I'm just trying to do the right thing and encouraging the city to do the right thing.
Okay. Well, that's a lot. Okay?
Yes,
That's
it is a lot.
I think the best thing we do is have Dawn come up, but we're going to probably want to talk to you and get the particulars. Go ahead, Dawn.
I just want to address something. I had the former city chief planner, before he retired in 2018, write a letter as to how the city actually made the error. And a resolution was introduced by Ikaika, premised on this letter, and also other city actions when they found out they had made an error. Now, when the city wrote the resolution, they didn't write it as a restoration. What they did is they wrote it as a request from my family and others in the neighborhood all along the Windward side that were affected by this downzoning, simply because Kaneohe was supposed to be the second city. And the activism on this side of the island was able to work with the city and have it changed from Kaneohe to Kapolei. Okay. Now, there were also other areas across the...
This is a big topic.
Yes, I know. So, I just want accountability.
Yes.
My family's working on the 5th generation, and I just want them to do the right thing. Please restore our zoning.
And I have deep respect for what you just said, I promise. So, Dawn, I don't know what you want to say. We'll meet with you. Look, you started out saying a few minutes ago that you could get nowhere, you couldn't have any. We will give you that voice. I can't promise or predict an outcome, but we'll make sure you have that voice. I can promise you we'll do that. Let's just get your contact information. I promise you.
Who do I speak to, Chimera?
Chimera, let's get your contact. And
you can speak to
right
Jiro right
Okay, so Jiro Sumata is the Deputy Director of DPP. Really good guy. Thank you.
I had one of your deputy director tell me that the only 2 options that my family had and my neighbors had was to sue the city. And, you know, I'm up against a losing battle fighting the city, because I had prominent attorneys tell me that the city is just lined with attorneys to discourage people like myself and local folks who just want to build homes for their family.
I understand that. I
And you
love
guys put us, I mean,
I love our
wasn't your
attorneys,
administration?
but I respect your lineage and everything you've set up here tonight. Talk to Gerald. We will follow up with you. I promise you that. Okay? Thank you. Ma'am.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for being here tonight. I have a very quick follow-up question in relation to my mom who came up and spoke earlier about the City and County Road Maintenance Division here in Heia. Thank you, Mr. Mamizuka and Mr. Kawata, for your cards. May we also ask for whoever's in charge of safety and economics to become involved in this, because we've been told there's no money to build a wall or take on any kind of project about it. And they've also been illegally
So you're
dumping.
talking about the noise from the Department of Water and then the building thing. You're talking about that, right?
Yes, that's what
that
my
was
mom.
your mom. Yeah.
But also, there's been illegal dumping behind our house from the city and county, where we had to call State Department of Health, and they forced them to get it
The
out
city and county was dumping behind your house?
in the yard, about 20 feet from my house.
How long ago did that happen?
That's been going on over the course of the last 18 months that we lived there, until the State Department of Health forced them
Okay.
to stop.
All right, well, we're going to follow up. Duly noted. We are going to follow up. We've got that. See what we can get done.
May
Yes.
I ask for the economics and whoever's the health person to also be involved?
Well, we don't have a Department of Health. I've got Jim Ireland over here who runs all of our area, but we don't really, the state has a Department of Health.
Yes.
Okay? But let's see what we can get done. The illegal dumping, if that's really going on, I'm not saying it's not. Stuff like that we could stop. Right? Okay? I promise you, we'll follow up. Look, for what it's worth, I can tell you one of the things that, even though we're 7 weeks into doing these, I've gotten a lot of feedback from different people with the other ones, writing back in total disbelief, saying, thank you, I can't believe we went to the town hall meeting, you guys listened to us, and then you did something about it. That's the reason why we're here. But these are complicated matters, not easily solved up at a microphone. Okay, but at least now we're aware. I promise you, it's more than on our radar screen.
May we ask for whoever your business person is to be involved?
Well, then, neither one of them is here tonight, but yeah, you don't have to involve them directly. That's a budgetary thing.
Right.
That's not how the finances of the city work. We'll take care of that internally. Fair enough? Thank you.
Thanks for listening.
All right, you're welcome. Sir.
Hi, aloha kākou. My name is Sam Wasson, born and raised in the Ko'olaloa area. So my family's 10th generation living here in the islands. Of course, I grew up at an early age, since I was a kid, hiking with my dad in these Ko'olau mountains. And so we want to thank you for being open and non-biased to these topics, including Stairway to Heaven. And so I remember hiking it since I was a kid, and then all of a sudden the Board of Water Supply brought in security. And I remember security telling us we can't hike it, turned us around, turned around, told my grandma what happened, and she said, oh, that's crap. We go back to the security guard, tell them that this is your Native Hawaiian rights to hike these mountains. And she told me that it is our Article 12, Section 7:1, Hawaii Revised Statute. So I went, hiked it, of course got down, police was there, issued me a ticket for trespassing. No hard feelings, of course, someone probably in here probably gave it to me. But
So
yeah.
what is your question, sir?
So my question is, I took it to court, fought it, and of course the judge sided with me that it is our Native Hawaiian rights to hike these areas, the Ko'olau Mountains. So you said earlier that as friends of Haʻikū Stairs, as supporters of Haʻikū Stairs, come up with you to a plan, a proposal of how to open it, because no hikers want to trespass through anyone's yard.
Right.
They don't care about their homes, their yards. It's just homeless.
I hear you say
mentally
that,
ill.
and that sounds very noble.
Yes.
Unfortunately, there's been a lot of damage done to a lot of homes in the neighborhoods, of which, what can I tell you? You got a lot of people that are really upset. So you're probably a really good guy. My sense is you are,
Thank
and
you.
you wouldn't do that. And I certainly want to argue your rights as a
Yeah.
Hawaiian to climb the Ko'olau Mountains. But it doesn't necessarily have it written in there. It says on Haʻikū Stairs.
I don't think you're thinking of the island as a whole. You're thinking about few community
Yes.
members who are against it. As the island as a whole, we'd have more people supporting the Haʻikū Stairs versus
Sam,
taking
I
it
promise
down.
you this. I want to try to get through everybody.
Yeah, so my question is, when can I come to you to bring the proposal? You said, come with me, the proposal. I'm willing to come to your proposal. When can I come?
When do you
a
want to
date,
come?
a time.
When do you want to come?
Well, are you working next week, Friday at 3 p.m.?
Probably. Probably.
I will
That's
be at
probably
your
true.
office.
That's probably true for next week Saturday at 3 p.m., next week Sunday at 3 p.m. Yeah, show up on Friday. I'll
Friday,
give you
3
my
p.m.
card with my cell phone on
Sounds
before
good.
we leave.
I will be there.
Thank you, Sam.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name's Asia D'Antonio,
Hello,
and
Asia.
hi.
Hi, everyone. Thank you all for being here tonight. I come as a representative of the Kailua Chamber of Commerce as well as Kailua Fireworks, and I'm here to talk about fireworks and the 4th of July parade. More specifically, we have co-sponsorship letters that got sent to you and the Honolulu City and County. I have the physical copies here to hand off to you, but more so, Jonna Holden couldn't be here tonight, and she's in charge of the Kailua Fireworks, and she's wondering what we can do to expedite the approval of co-sponsorship to help with the parade. I do know that we only got approval maybe 3 or 4 days before for fireworks last year, and it's been suspended since
we got
COVID.
It. All right. Quick question. Mike Formby.
Letters for you?
We'll get on that.
Yes. Yes.
You know, things I don't like to
Thank
mess
you.
around with is 4th of July fireworks and Christmas. I don't mess around with that. We hear you. Okay, sir.
Aloha, Mayor Adriel Lamb.
Good evening.
Thanks for coming to rainy Kaneohe.
Sorry, thank you.
I'm the vice chair of your neighborhood board, Kaneohe Neighborhood Board.
Thank you for doing that.
And thank you for holding this town hall. I think it's very important to have this forum because it highlighted a couple of things for me as a neighborhood board member. The first thing was we've been trying for over a year to try to find a place to hold a neighborhood board. We come to this school, they wouldn't let us come, but somehow you're here and you made it happen. So I'm glad we have this forum for us to have the community come.
It's been a great crowd, too. But you got to get to your question. We got about 8 minutes left. Go ahead.
The second is, when you're coming to this town hall, it's the first time I get calls from people who actually look up neighborhood commission office and ask about questions. And there are a couple of questions about, you know, where is our priorities for pickleball courts? There's some neighborhood dispute issues. But I think it highlights that because you're here, that's why you hear from them.
Right.
We hardly get this kind of crowd at our neighborhood boards because we've been online and half the attendees of the neighborhood board are part of the administration or elected officials that are there. My question is, on getting to this is, we got things like $4 million going to this destruction of Haʻikū Stairs, but we got a lot of other things going on in this community, like we only saw grass cutting on the ending of the Kamehameha Highway the last week when it's growing over 2 feet tall. Yeah. We got this sinkhole.
That was a state, but go ahead. What's your question?
We had the sinkhole in the
Okay,
middle of
come on. I got to get to your question. This is not a neighborhood board meeting, and I got people behind you.
My
Go ahead.
question is, as a 24-year veteran of the armed services, I grew up on democracy, but you're the only chief elected executive in the entire island. We have plenty of talent in this community, right? We got our neighborhood chair who's been doing a very good job. We got Sam Moku here. We got Mr. Kawano who's done a very good job of taking the questions. But having once a month to address you and get the filter up to you to make decisions is not the right answer. We need leadership, elected leadership within our communities. Can you change the neighborhood commission office into local town councils so that we have elected leaders that can make decisions locally with their own budgets?
I don't know. We'll take that under advise. You know what?
Thank you, sir.
Hey, no, don't run. Don't. Mike is telling me, we'll meet with you. We're staying here. I'm going to end the meeting at 8:30. We're staying around.
Right.
That's probably a charter, you know, or some kind of a, but we'll talk about it.
Yes, sir.
Look, I have been a big believer, especially in light of the fact that we have such a shortage in our police department. Believe me, I've been all over this island with neighborhood boards, community watch groups. That's why I acknowledge a couple people tonight. We want to give as much empowerment back to communities as long as it's going to work as we can, because we need them to take that ownership. That's part of what we want to build, is that kind of pride and trust in our communities, okay?
Yes, sir.
So we're going to be here. We'll talk to you right
Thank you,
afterwards.
sir.
Okay, sir, thank you. Okay. Bet you thought we wouldn't get you.
Yeah,
Go
I
ahead.
was like, I don't know. Hey, so my name is Michael Renda. I live up the street here at Peleca Road. Lived here since '97. I voted for you, just so you know.
Thank you.
You know, you guys kind of touched on security a little earlier, and I know you guys have been trying to do a lot downtown in Chinatown and different areas. This is a photo of a man who came onto my property at 3:41 and looked like he was stalking maybe 2 women that lived at the street, you know, right across from me. No, you know, we live real close to each other. As soon as you cross the fence, you're trespassing. I was in the military. I woke up and I had to react within 60 seconds. 60 seconds, I grabbed my baseball bat, I opened the door, and I yelled at the guy, and I said, hey, you know, get the blank out of here. He takes off running, thank God. I, you know, called the cops. They said, you want me to come out? I'm like, hey, he's already ran away, you know, I don't know. So then I drove down to the police station twice, second time with photo. I filled out a police report, right? My question is, it seems like politics or national politics, not necessarily local politics, but has kind of decimated our police force, or it's starting to, and it's kind of eroding it a little bit. And so our people here trust the police. And so my question is, what are we doing to make sure that our police are protected and make sure that they have what they need to go forward, and that the public also understands, you know, like, I know you're doing a lot already.
We're doing a lot with our police
I know
department.
you are, but it's when you got to react, it's not the only time. That was 3:40
No, we
in
get
the
it.
morning.
Nice.
And then the post office, I had a
Right.
guy that had looked
No,
like he
no.
had a knife in his pocket, and he's standing in the middle of the road.
Right.
And I'm in my car going, is this guy going to come at me in my car? Like, what, you know?
Right. We hear you. Public safety. Keith, is there anything you wanted to say real quick? We hear you on this, but...
How's it going? First of all, thank you for your support. Appreciate that. You know, but yeah, you know, with our new leadership in position right now with Chief Logan, we've been in position for about 10 months, and let me tell you that, you know, we do have a really good partnership, not just with our city leadership here, but also, like the mayor said, the prosecutor's office, you know, federal agencies. So, you know, we do very much leverage those assets, you know, to really get a better service out to you folks. But got to hear you. I know it's a national issue as far as police shortages, but we're a little bit different here. You know, I think we're a little bit more successful in being able to recruit, and we're doing a pretty good job in shaping conditions to really bring our police force back up to standard. So
And
thank you for that.
Thank you.
All right,
I
so
just,
look, we
I
could
feel
talk
like
about
we
this
don't
all
have
night.
enough time to react as people when something happens.
Yes,
You know?
and that's why I don't like the bad guys, okay?
Also, can I get a selfie with you? Just
Yeah,
'cause
you
you're
can
the
do
mayor?
it, but let me do the next three people. We're going to do these three. So I want the woman line to, yeah, we'll do that. You crack me up. Let me tell you, I'm glad it was a baseball bat, though, okay? That was smart.
I know my rules.
All right, that was smart.
keep my stuff locked in the safe like you're
Yeah.
supposed to, and I don't take that lightly.
Okay, sir.
Aloha, Mayor and council members, et cetera. Thank you for being here tonight. My name
It's
is...
a cabinet.
Cabinet.
There's one council member here,
Okay.
Matt Wire in
Not
the
one
back, right
council
there.
member. Thank you. I did want to... my name is David La'eha. I'm the
David.
president of the Kaneohe Community Garden. I'm also a member of the Kailua Neighborhood Board for the last 2 years as a volunteer member there. I live
So
as a...
because we're past the time, David, I'm going to ask you to get to your question.
Okay. About 45 years ago, Mayor Frank Fossey set up a community garden program which established a land base for community gardeners, and that program has been in existence in the Kaneohe area, and it supports 69 garden plots.
Wow.
There's a plan right now that is going to demolish all of those city garden plots, and it's going to replace some of them with 56 garden plots. But my question is, why is it that we're going to be reducing the number of garden plots from 69 to 56, and we're going to be reducing the gardening areas, the common areas for all of our gardeners? And this program, it supports local food industry. We hear from all the politicians that they're in favor of supporting sustainable food production in Hawaii. We're trying to grow 69 gardeners who can produce organic food in Hawaii.
David, I get it. So here's the deal. First of all, I didn't even know that's going on until now. That's why I said earlier tonight, journey of learning. We'll find out, but I have no idea why that's happening. I don't think, do you know why that's happening?
Well, to the best of my knowledge, we're not reducing the amount of community garden plots. So
That's not true.
What's happening is there's an erosion mitigation project because the community gardens are up against a wall, and we have to control the sediment runoff that comes from the park. And so part of that project, we do have to close the community garden, and we've been working with the gardeners and with the neighborhood board on this quite extensively to make sure that...
I've been the president of the neighborhood board, and we have opposed the plan formally, both verbally and in writing, and nobody has responded to our specific issues.
Lloyd, what do you know about that? You know nothing?
I'm
let's
sorry.
do this offline, David, because I want
we can talk
to
offline,
listen
but
behind you.
Everybody wants to support urban gardening,
Hey,
but nobody actually physically does it. That's
okay.
why I'm here before you, because we want to see
I get it.
something changing.
Okay. So it starts tonight, okay? It's the first I heard
you.
about it.
Thank
Besides that, I like Frank Fossey. So, you know, if he did something, I'm not going to undo what Frank did, okay?
Yeah.
We'll find out, though. But if there's an erosion mitigation problem, there may be
We're
some
all in favor of
circumstances.
addressing the mitigation problem.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we have an erosion control mitigation plan in progress right now. We're going through design. And part of that is we have to do it because it's through the EPA. A lot of that runoff, essentially the hillside, is coming down and it's pushing into the other properties as well, and it's getting into the storm drain.
We fully support it, but we would like to at least have the garden plots restored and the gardening area restored. Yeah. There's over 1,000 people in this island who are on the waiting list to have a garden plot. And we're taking away garden plots with this construction project.
Yeah, let's follow up with that, and then we'll work with Parks. You want to talk on the side? We can make sure we adjust it.
David, thank you. You are the last. Okay.
First of all, thank you for being here. Thank you for your time.
Good.
Really appreciate your time, and especially thank you for staying late. My name's Laura Crane. I'm a resident of Kailua. My grandfather was a prisoner of war. He was captured in 1942. He was liberated in 1945. He served over 3 years in camps as a prisoner. He was very active in his POW committees wherever he lived throughout the United States. My question is regarding the Haʻikū Stairs. Why is the historic component, the World War II component,
We've already covered Haʻikū Stairs tonight.
The historic component of
I understand
it. Why is it not addressed in the
We have
conversations?
addressed it. Everything we're doing has been addressed. I can promise you that. Okay? I'm not trying to be dismissive, but we've addressed Haʻikū Stairs. We got 2 people left. Quick comment. And I'm going to let you go because you were in line and somebody took you out of line. But go ahead, quick comment.
Okay, may I? Good evening, Mr. Blangiardi. My name is Haʻikū Stairs, and I've listened to, I don't come out too often. I'm too busy taking care of Mo'opuna and working my Okolea for 50 years. And this may not have any, I hear the passion for those of you that are for, pros, and cons. That lady that was here regarding her family, and the lady that wants help from the police department at the top of the stairs. I'm sitting on the sidelines and I'm listening to what the realities and the unrealities are. This may not have anything to do with you folks, but for those of you that have dogs.
I need a quick comment. That's what you asked for. I need a quick comment, not a speech. Okay?
No, allow me the courtesy. I'm getting to my point. For those of you that have animals at city and county, a suggestion: get up early, walk your dog in your yard, let it do its thing, and then you take it around our circle. Number 2, if you are aware, more importantly, of children that live next door, but you never see or hear them, get involved, get someone involved. In my day, when you were abused, you ran from the police because all they did was pick you up. We didn't have children's rights. And they take you home for more beating. Today, you could save a life, a child's or an adult's. And to our Kaneohe Police Precinct, I want to commend you for all your hard work, truly, truly hard work.
Thank you.
You run on skeleton crews, and we have some damn fool that lives in our circle, that you are there at a drop of a hat all the time to diffuse the situation. So therefore, thank you. And thank you for giving me the floor.
No,
and to you, Mr. Blangiardi.
You're welcome. Thank you. All right, young man, you're the last one. Thank you. I appreciate your comment.
You can be irritating, though.
Who? I can be. No, I said at the beginning of the night, I don't want to be rude.
About the same thing and everything.
I'm trying to. I know. You come with me next week to Wailua. I'll give you the microphone. You see how this is. Okay. I'm going to be here. Go ahead, sir. Go ahead. You're up. Last one.
Hello, my name is Joseph Briggs. Don't worry, I don't have a speech ready.
Okay, I got it, Joseph. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So, the roads on Kehala Road, as well as this one nearby Times that goes down for the back roads, their sidewalks are very poor, and it kind of takes me off having to walk to and from on them after school and stuff. It's kind of like, can we get any sort of help with that in terms of like either patching them because they're like asphalt sidewalks, or?
Are there sidewalks there, Joseph?
Yeah.
They are there?
The sidewalks
Okay.
are kind of like patchy and stuff, and
Yeah.
I kind of want to help get them
Okay.
fixed.
So Warren.
Yeah, we can look into patching those asphalt sidewalks. So if you want to meet me off to the side and we can discuss, share some information, and we'll do our best to schedule something.
I will definitely do that.
Yeah, Joseph. John wants to go ahead. Last
And
word.
also, through the Department of Design and Construction, when they execute some rehab of streets, so when they redo Paleka Road and Anoi Road and Ke'ahala Road, we are taking some of the sidewalk segments and restoring new sidewalks. So certain parts, like we're gonna attempt to put in a sidewalk all the way from Kamau Place all the way to Kamehameha Highway on Ke'ahala, and for a short stretch on Anoi Road between Ke'ahala and Paleka Road. So we have some new sidewalks coming into Kaneohe, which are not something the city's done in about 30 years. So we're trying new things.
All right, thank you, John. Joseph, thank you.
I don't know.
Hey, you've been a great crowd. You've been a great crowd. Thank you for coming out on this rainy night. We're going to be here for a bit. We will follow up with you. Thanks so much for being the people you are. Aloha.